Hey folks, you're watching NFL Daily. Cam Rogers here alongside Tom Downey. We've got all the latest news and rumors surrounding the National Football League. We'll start things off with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Le'Veon Bell. Will they give him the franchise tag, Tom? They have less than 24 hours.
Yeah, it seems pretty likely that that will be the case here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's only 3 heads because of one big reason. You know, they could work out a long-term deal. That's why it's not the 4 heads, but it does seem pretty likely, Cam, that you'll see the Steelers franchise tag Bell. Big question is he going to sign it this time? I kind of figure if you're Lev Bell, why are you going to turn down over $14 million?
Correct.
Like, just take the money, dude. That's a lot of money.
Le'Veon Bell wants to get paid as the #1 running back in the National Football League, the #2 wide receiver kind of money here. And for Le'Veon Bell, you got to wonder if he is deserving of that money. As we have a weigh-in for the folks watching the program right now, is Le'Veon Bell the best running back in the National Football League? He wants to get paid like it. Is he the top dog, Tom?
I think there are a lot of different, potential players in the mix here when it comes to Lev Bell. I think you've got guys like David Johnson. You've got Ezekiel Elliott as well. All players, I think, have a strong argument to get that nomination in there. I don't know if that's who it is, but I think there's a strong argument for Lev Bell when he's healthy. He's not always healthy and on the field. When he is, that's when I think you have a strong argument for Lev Bell to be the best running back because he can do more than just rush the football. He's so versatile and dynamic in the passing game as well.
Hit us up in the comments section on Facebook Live and YouTube. Let us know your thoughts. You're watching NFL Daily. Cam Rogers coming at you alongside Tom Downey, going through all of the latest news and rumors. We gave 3 heads to the Le'Veon Bell rumor. What do those heads mean, Tom? Well, we will let you all know out there. We have a rumor meter, a scale of believability. So 0 Goodell heads, it's fake news. Luckily, we have no fake news to report. 1 Goodell head, small shred of truth to the story. 2 Goodell heads, people are talking firmly in that rumor category. 3 Goodell heads, more probable than not that it is true. And then 4 Goodell heads, it is fact news, it's a thing, it's news. Let's get into news and rumor number 2 here. The Falcons, are they inquiring about Michael Bennett via a trade, Tom?
Hey, people are talking, and on the surface it does make some sense. The Seahawks have been very open about potentially overhauling their defense. Guys like Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman may or may not be back. And oh, by the way, Dan Quinn, Falcons head coach, has worked with the Seahawks. He knows Bennett. There is the report that they're out there with trade talks. I think it does make some sense. I think it gives them another good edge rusher, especially if they cut Derek Shelby. Here's what kind of concerns me, though, when it comes to Michael Bennett, is that, yeah, we know he's a pretty talented player. I don't think he's in his prime anymore. I think, unfortunately, his prime has more or less passed him by. He's not going to be a 12-sack guy for the Falcons. And yeah, his base salary is relatively low, but there's a roster bonus coming in. So the Atlanta Falcons don't have much cap space. I don't know if they could really afford to take on the $1.65 million in base salary and the roster salary, which is at $5 million. That's a pretty significant figure there. So it makes some sense, but I think with the Falcons, they might say, you know what, he's talented, he'd be a good fit for us, but we just don't have the money to pull it off.
All right, so the Atlanta Falcons, we'll see if they can acquire Michael Bennett. Of course, Dontari Poe, a free agent, likely to walk into the open market and see what he can do out there. Let's get into news and rumor number 3. The Philadelphia Eagles, are they trading Nick Foles? Well, apparently an AFC team out there was offering a 2nd-round pick for Nick Foles. We're giving this 1 Goodell head. We find it unlikely that Foles is going to get traded, especially with the uncertainty still a little bit with Carson Wentz.
And I think that's the big thing in the end for Philadelphia. If Carson Wentz is ahead of his rehab time, if he's ahead of schedule on that end, that's where it makes some sense for Philadelphia to say, okay, you know what, we're fine, we'll hold on to Nick Foles. On the flip side, if he's not healthy, do you want to go into this year coming off a Super Bowl where you don't have your starting quarterback because he's hurt, and then your backup quarterback you just traded him? And I think what we'll see happen is that the Eagles have a high asking price. This is per Peter King. They want a 1st and a 4th. I don't think they're going to get that for Nick Foles. So if they don't, they'll say, okay, we'll keep our backup quarterback and we'll have him just in case Nick Foles or Carson Wentz is not ready to go.
All right, so that's the latest with Nick Foles. Let's get into the next news and rumor here. Saquon Barkley, will he go #1 overall in the 2018 NFL Draft? Tom, people are firmly talking 2 heads.
Had a great combine. We'll talk about him as a combine winner later on in the show. I think it's definitely a consideration for the Cleveland Browns. There are several quarterbacks that could go number 1 to number 10, somewhere in that range. So the mindset for Cleveland is, okay, look, we can get our quarterback at 4, and we can get Barkley at number 1, especially if Barkley doesn't end up lasting the 4. I think you can see the Giants, the Colts, or somebody else say, you know what, we're going to go get this stud halfback who might be the best guy to come out in quite a while, even though there's a very strong list of other running backs. My mindset is, though, Cam, yeah, he's talented, and yeah, he's easily one of the top 3 players in this year's draft. But if you're the Browns and you fall in love with a quarterback, you don't want to run the risk of saying, yeah, we missed out on our franchise-changing quarterback to take a running back. The positional value isn't there. If there is a QB that the Browns love, and unless there is more than 3 of them, you should take the quarterback at number 1, draft someone in round 2, be it a Nick Chubb or Sonny Michel or even a Darius Geis if he lasts that long, and say, cool, we've got our quarterback. We can build the offense around him with a good, even though it's not Saquon Barkley good, halfback.
Just 7 running backs have gone number 1 overall since the AFL-NFL merger, so it would be pretty unprecedented if Saquon Barkley would go number 1 overall in the NFL draft. We do have a weigh-in as well. We want the people to kind of chime in on this because it feels like there's new buzz to the uncertainty of that number 1 overall pick now that Saquon Barkley is coming out of the combine with a really fine performance. So everybody in the comments section, let us know who will go number 1 overall in the NFL draft. Tom, are you sticking with Darnold?
I always projected Darnold based on A, him coming out of the combine, which he didn't do, but I don't really put that much stock in that. B, them signing someone that we'll get to later on in the show. Don't want to spoil it.
Sure.
But I do think Barkley is in the discussion. I think in the end the Browns are going to say, how many times can we pass on a quarterback at number 1 and wait for a quarterback later in the draft, which they've always done, taking guys in the late 20s, Weed and Quinn, and so on. I think they're going to go quarterback number 1. If they don't, they run the risk. Let's say that they love Sam Darnold. They don't think the Giants take him. Let's say the Giants take Josh Rosen. All of a sudden, the Jets or Broncos say, hey, let's leapfrog the Browns, trade with the Colts, and get him, and the Browns miss out on their quarterback.
Right.
That's the risk they cannot run again.
All right, let's get to our next note here. DeMarcus Lawrence. Did he get the franchise tag, Tom? We're confident he did for Goodell heads.
Yeah, the Cowboys have submitted the paperwork here. This is not a surprise. This was kind of the plan all along. The Cowboys tried to get a deal done before the franchise tag deadline. They didn't get it done, so they filed the paperwork. They will tag DeMarcus Lawrence. Had until tomorrow to get that done. For example, the Rams going to tag someone we don't know who yet. The Cowboys, by the way, can still work out a deal before July 16th. They were never going to let DeMarcus Lawrence hit the open market because he might have gotten more than that $17 million on the open market. Now, the Cowboys might say, all right, DeMarcus, go prove it again since you were hurt the previous year.
Right.
But he's not playing for anyone other than the Cowboys this season.
DeMarcus Lawrence getting the franchise tag from the Dallas Cowboys. Next note here, Jimmy Graham. Could he go to the New Orleans Saints? People are very much talking about this one, Tom, because he's not coming back to Seattle.
We were talking about this one on previous NFL Daily Show. This is a very much people are talking. I think it makes some sense. We know that the Saints are trying to get some more tight end help. They could very well end up cutting Coby Fleener. Josh Hill is not a number 1 tight end. Graham's going to have a lot of interest. The issue for the Saints in the end is salary cap space. I don't know if they can afford to throw big money at Jimmy Graham against a team like the Houston Texans, for example, that have all the cap space they could possibly want, and they say, bam, there we go. We'll throw more money at you, Jimmy Graham. Come be our elite tight end to have with Deshaun Watson.
All right, so that's the latest with Jimmy Graham. Let's check in with Kirk Cousins. Are the Vikings the favorite to land the free agent quarterback? We're giving this to Goodell heads, Tom.
Yeah, look, I caution everyone to pump the brakes a little bit on the buzz around Kirk Cousins. If you're Kirk Cousins' agent, Cam, what is the single best way to get more, or excuse me, if you're other NFL teams, what's the best way, A, to get more money for your to have to pay Cousins less money? If you're an NFL team, how do you get Cousins to pay less? You say that other NFL teams aren't interested. You eliminate teams like the Browns who have all the cap space. On the flip side, if you're Cousins' agent and you want the Jets or the Broncos to up their offer, you say, hey, Vikings are the favorite, so up our offer.
I see what you're saying.
So there's a little bit of, I think, media war going on between both sides, trying to, as they jockey between the cap space situations. I think Minnesota makes a lot of sense. And when it comes to Minnesota in particular, Mike Zimmer was oddly and openly honest about his quarterbacks, basically saying, yeah, you know, Sam Bradford, he's hurt. Teddy Bridgewater, he's hurt. Case Keenum, are we going to get Rams Case Keenum or are we going to get Vikings Case Keenum? A fair question, by the way. And it seems like they're going to let all 3 guys go. You only do that if you've got Kirk Cousins and you think that you're going to land Kirk Cousins. So I like Kirk Cousins here as an option. I am curious what you guys at home think, and we have a reaction poll here as well.
Yep.
With Minnesota, I like the fit a lot. I think that that's an ideal landing spot for him. It puts him in a strong position to have success. I don't want him to go to the Jets. I think it's Minnesota, Denver, everyone else, maybe the Jets at the top of that list.
John DeFilippo, the new offensive coordinator there for Minnesota, would do a fantastic job with Kirk Cousins. Did a great job in Philadelphia in 2017. Let us know which team is the best spot for Kirk Cousins. Give us a heart for the Vikings, a like for the Jets, a laughing face for the Broncos, and a wow face for other. Be sure to let us know what that team is in the comments section. All right, next note here. The Browns, are they all in on AJ McCarron? Well, from what we understand, seems to be possible at least.
People are talking, and I think if Hugh Jackson gets his way, A.J. McCarron becomes the highest paid quarterback in NFL history.
Oh, for sure.
Hugh Jackson, for some unknown reason, just absolutely adores A.J. McCarron, and I really don't know why either, because I know that people like A.J. McCarron, and I understand why that's the mindset, but, is he actually all that good? Because I don't really think so. I think A.J. McCarron is, at best, an average quarterback. Look, A.J. McCarron is going to be this year's Mike Glennon. He gets paid a lot of money by a team to be a one-year starter. They draft somebody else, and they say, okay, cool, later, A.J., thanks for everything. We no longer need you. Bye. Go be a backup again. I don't think A.J. McCarron is a starting caliber NFL quarterback.
Still exceedingly interested, Tom. Exceedingly.
Because Hugh Jackson loves A.J. McCarron. And frankly, I think the Browns and Sashi Brown maybe or maybe not actually getting in the facts or intentionally sabotaging it. I don't really know what happened in the end there, but I'll tell you what. The Browns almost gave up more for A.J. McCarron than the Niners gave up for Jimmy Garoppolo. That makes no sense. So I hope the Browns don't overpay for McCarron because, look, there's a reason he didn't do that great despite having incredible talent around him with the one time he got to be a starter for the Bengals and Andy Dalton got hurt.
That's the latest there with the quarterback hunt for the Cleveland Browns. And one final note now, Roger Goodell, did he run a 5.41 40-yard dash in the NFL league offices today? Well, Tom, we are giving this one 4 Goodell heads, but you have your fair share of uncertainty here.
We're going to stick with 4 because it was the official NFL time. I will mention this, though, even though we're going to stick with the 4 here. I'll throw this out there, and we'll play the video here for you guys. I do not count this until it's laser timed. Until it's a laser timed 40-yard dash, I don't know. I question whether or not it's actually a true
human error with stopwatches.
That's how it is, man.
Yeah.
I think if Goodell was at the Combine, also why is the NFL owner at the NFL Combine, by the way, I think if he was at the Combine and you have him run run a 40, I think it comes in more closer to 6 seconds.
Okay.
So it's official, but it's not laser timed. It's kind of like that Bo Jackson 40. Like, it counts, but is it really that fast?
A little friendly buffer there for the commissioner, perhaps.